I wasn't born rich, right? But I know the people around me, right? They're not either. You know what I mean? And I can't allow them to go around thinking that they need to be a certain way to get out of the rat race, right? I have to be the pioneer for the people around me. That's the only reason why I'm doing it, right? Dude, if I wasn't the pioneer, trust me, I wouldn't care, right? If I had my Ferrari already, I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? Trust me, people who already got their wealth, they don't care, right? They don't look back. People that got their money don't look back, right? I have to look out for the people around me. What did Drake say in his song, right? His new albums. You know what I mean? He said, what did he say, right? He said, "Oh, to my boys, right? I gotta have their back, or whatever." I don't know what he says, right? But I've been listening to his album, right? He's like, you know what? I gotta look out for my day ones. You feel me? And well, you know what? To me, like, I'm solo dolo most of the time, right? I don't even know if I got any day ones, right? I know I got a village though, people around me, right? Whether they look up to me or not doesn't matter, right? They probably look down upon me because, like, literally, I'm bumming around, right? But knowledge is different, bro. Like, knowledge is, to me, knowledge is like power, right? I'm trying to empower people around me, right? So when people around me see what I'm doing, right? I hope they, what do you call it, inspo? I hope they get inspired. You feel me? If they don't, then I don't care. It goes all into thin air. You know what I mean? Maybe somebody else, that sees it as valuable can have it, right? I'm not charging nobody, right? If I was stingy, maybe you think, okay, well, you don't know how to get paid from this. You don't know how to charge people to get from. You're not marketable. No, I care less. Whether or not marketable doesn't matter, right? I can always put this stuff in private, and and have people subscribe to my channel or something, right? Paid. You know what I mean? Force them to watch me on Twitch, right? And people will. You know what I mean? People will. One or two, that's still money, right? I don't want to. I don't even want to do that. You know what I mean? And trust me, I'm not the person that want to be famous either. I don't want to be famous. You know what I mean? I'm not the next Instagram guy. Feel me? Most of the time I wake up do this stuff, I don't want to brush my teeth. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then I got all the, like, younger people that will potentially see my videos and they're just like, hey, what is he talking about? But this is my contribution. Like I said before, this is my contribution. But you know what? Even if no one sees it, it doesn't matter, right? For me, it doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, I have my reasons, right? And it might not be as polished. I'm not putting out there as polished, but being polished and having nice edits and having quality work, right? Like I said, you know what I mean? If I was doing it in a stingy and very particular way because I need to find money from this, right? Then my projection or my projected goals won't be met. You know what I mean? Like, why would I spend my time and energy trying to make this stuff nicely polished, right? Because I'm seeking an audience. I'm not seeking an audience. Like I said, I'm not seeking the audience that you think I'm seeking. And like I said before, you know what I mean? Like, if you find this stuff information valuable, then go ahead, take it. You know what I mean? Hopefully, save you guys some money from joining a coach. Just remember, talent is what we share, right? What's in the Bible, right? The parables of the talents. When you bury talents, guess what? They're not going to grow. And then, I think when people gatekeep, it's just, I don't know what it really does for people. You know what I mean? It doesn't bring them more enlightenment. Maybe it'll bring them more money, or whatever, right? But what's the point? I don't see a point in any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I do see a point in having greater understanding, having greater knowledge, having greater capabilities. You know what I mean? To push through all the noise. I mean, if we were to look at the market tomorrow, let's see what happens tomorrow. See, it's moving up, right? So it seems like we're pre-market. We're not pre-market yet, but overnight we're $3 above. Come back, around 40, almost at 47 again. Let's see here, the VWAP. All right, it went back to the VWAP. Yeah, I'm not trading. I don't trade the futures or anything like that market. So I wouldn't know how people trade during the future markets. You know what I mean? I can tell you we have a bullish here. Um, you know, is this gonna is this a reversal here? I'm not sure. Let's look at this. Well, I can't see the accumulation distribution chart, so I wouldn't know whether it's reversal. But obviously, there's a heavy the RSI is showing a heavy overbought over here, but it went down pretty drastically here. So I would assume that there's some sort of price manipulation here, but not necessarily going to reverse, right? So that wouldn't give you a good reversal sign. The only thing I would think that, the only thing I can challenge whether or not it's gonna be bearish is the VWAP. Maybe the VWAP have a thing about it, but if you look at, yeah, I don't know how futures trade, so I wouldn't know what kind of advice to give people to trade the future. So there's nothing. I'm just putting that there just to show you that it's bullish, and I wouldn't know anything after that. I mean, you can say this right here, right? Check this out. So all these are lines, right? And it seems to hit well, this one really didn't hit it, but you know, kind of this price line, 740, right? So it's kind of sideways, go from 47 to 40. We talked about that before. And has anything? Some people will swear by like chart patterns, right? So you see head, shoulder, right? And then maybe it'll be bullish after that, going that direction up. But I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But I'll let you know in the morning though, right? So let's say it's head, shoulder, right? Upside down. Then tomorrow, if it um, if it does something interesting where it rallies here, right, and then it'll give us a range um, that's gonna be bullish tomorrow. Then tomorrow will be bullish situation for me, right? And then I would just take it up, pushing it towards maybe 750, 750. So my range has to be depending on how it does tonight up to pre-market, right? So if pre-market gives me like a 10% or like a within 10%, I would assume wherever it closed at on the what you call it, the pre-market 4 hour. Starting at 5 tonight, right? The first 4 hour candle. I would assume that well, no, not even before market open, right? So anything within the first 4 hours before the market open will be my range, and usually somewhere within $10 usually. Yesterday was like $7, like a good 7%, right, of the whole index. And then depends if the range is wide, then I would assume that it's gonna have a pretty bullish day tomorrow. But if the range is very small, then we're working with a small a small two to $3 value. You know what I mean? If the range is small, I think that the push is going to be to the price line at 747. If the range is a little bit bigger, medium size, we're looking at 750. And if the range is bigger than that, 752. But I don't know. I know if it past 147, it might as well go to 152. Well, yeah, cause, there's yeah, because it hasn't really there's a big old gap from 47 to 152. Hasn't really been swept. So, but that could take a whole week though. All of this week. All right, let me see. Let me see what I can look at to give you a better answer to whether or not it's bullish. Price target 1245. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna start off at least at 43 tomorrow. Yeah, we might start off early. Definitely 150 to 750 tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're gonna rally 745. It seems to be the price target for the rest of the week, guys. So we're between. I think. I think for the rest of the week, we're gonna start seeing. I think our low is gonna be 745, and then our high is gonna probably be 752. But I could be wrong. Anyways, I believe that's my time for today, guys. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me today on Daily Trades by Rin. My name is Rin. Today's trade happened before 7/20, 2026. Have a good night, y'all. Peace.